right, well, welcome Dodgers fans to another edition of Dodger Dialogue presented by Braum's. And this week we're able to catch up with a member of last season's coaching staff, definitely a fan favorite, someone who you saw in the third bases coach's box, always out there socializing with fans. From his home in Southern California, we welcome in Jeremy Rodriguez, a.k.a. J-Rod. J-Rod, how you been these last few weeks?
Doing well. Just been spending a lot of time with family and, just kind of building our relationships, my brothers and sisters, and cleaning the house and, having, I guess, a lot of the relationships that because I left, I guess, the house when I was 18 and they were, a lot younger. So, kind of rebuilding, and it's been really good. Been enjoying it.
How was it for you adjusting to this kind of work from home Zoom lifestyle? I know for me, I think maybe a little bit more adjusted to it than some others because of all the work we do on the road from hotel rooms and things like that. But it was an adjustment to get to do it on an everyday basis from the comfort of your own home. How's your adjustment gone?
It's been good. Definitely a little different at first with all the Zoom calls that we've been having and a lot of the projects the Dodgers got us going. So, but it's been good. I mean, I think the biggest thing has just been the communication over the phone and making sure that everyone's on the same page. And it's tough, like, to get with our hitters and get with our infielders and start like, hey, like, let's see some drills and let's kind of go over their swings. So for me, I like that more, in person. But right now, it's the best we got, and I think everyone on the staff and in the PD department are doing a great job with it.
What's been your favorite part of, I know a lot of guys are having Zoom calls with players, other coaches, stuff like that. What's been your favorite part of doing that kind of stuff?
I think that, well, first off, to see everyone's lifestyle. I mean, everyone's in a different situation, so it's kind of cool seeing a lot of the players. Some are golfing at times, and some are working, and some are throwing bullpens at the same time that we're having a meeting. So it's interesting on everyone's schedule and how everyone's dealing with this situation. A lot of the staff we've been having. Petey Monteri's first base coach for the Tulsa Drillers last year, and he's been putting together some really cool meetings with a lot of coaches in the PD department, and we've been bringing a lot of old Dodger greats on there. We had Mike Scioscia last week. We had Reggie Smith the week before that. So, I mean, just hearing stories and talking Dodger baseball, it's kind of interesting, and it just brings you the chills and makes you definitely want to get back on the field again.
Well, I didn't know that. I've heard things about those Zoom meetings, but didn't know that they've been able to incorporate some Dodger legends. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just mentioned at the end that this stuff makes you want to get back out there even more. What would you say is the aspect of baseball season that you miss the most right
now? Gosh, I think just being with the team and the fans. The fans is always great. I mean, you said it earlier on. Like, I always like talking with the fans and building relationships that way. And the grind of waking up every day, getting prepared, and then when the game goes on, you see all your preparation and you see the guys just have fun and do the thing. It's tough having a routine right now because every day is different. So I guess sticking with your routine and having it, and building that that team winning atmosphere.
Yeah, for me, and people have asked me that question, and it's almost like the games are secondary because the thing I miss the most is just being around everybody, whether it's the players, the coaching staff, the roving instructors you come through. Like, you never know who's going to be there on a day-to-day basis. You might see Charlie Huff in the clubhouse one day. You might see Raul Ibanez the other day. Different various scouts who come through, and just those relationships that you have with not only the people that the team you're with, but the other team as well. So that's always definitely the thing that I've been missing most. And I feel like you'll probably appreciate this. I know last year we we had some travel maladies, and times, especially the bus. Sometimes air conditioning didn't always want to cooperate. But I don't know about you, but I'd be happy to be on an unair conditioned bus right
Oh yeah, exactly. We gosh, this spring training, Seamus and I we were talking a lot, and Travis, a lot of the stories that we had and the pictures we had, man, it was like, oh, how did we do it, man?
now.
Like
Yeah,
it was, but you know what I mean. But that's part of the the journey. That's part of the
right.
grind, and that's how the memories that things that you'll never forget and you always have with you the rest of your life.
So speaking of some of those moments from last year, what were some of your favorite moments being here in Oklahoma City last season, either on the field or off the field?
Mm. So, I guess probably one of my biggest moments was getting to meet Ivan Rodriguez and Johnny Bench in the same week. When Johnny Bench did his book signing, he got to talk with the team, and that was something special. Just hearing his story, his background, and I mean, what a guy! Like he's been through a lot. And then a couple of days before that, got to meet Ivan Rodriguez, so two Hall of Fame catchers. Um, who one was my idol growing up, and it was really special. Um, and then I think the other another memory that I had was being a part of a proposal during a game at home. I've never been a part of one before, so kind of cool. Like I had to throw a ball to. I had the ball. I think it was in the sixth. No, it was the seventh inning stretch, and the guy talked to me like before the game. He gave me the ball and he was, "Hey man, like in the seventh inning stretch, can you throw this ball to me?" And I'm like, "Well, shoot, man. Like there's so many fans, they're gonna be jumping in front." But the ball
Right,
says,
right.
"Will you marry me?" So seventh inning, I make eye contact with the guy. He like kind of goes right in the alley. So I throw him the ball, and his wife, his wife now, was like, "What?" Like he's like looking right at you, babe. Like he's, "Oh yeah." Like so I throw him the ball. And he looks and he goes, "Hey, look at this!" And then boom, it all like broke down, and it was pretty special. I think we got the camera guy to get it on it too on the big screen, and uh, I think I was more nervous, to be honest. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
I was like, "God, please be accurate and just throw it at the guy, not throw it at some other couple, like to the right or the left." Um, that was a really cool experience. And then Kershaw throwing opening day.
Yeah.
It was my first year really digging into the outfield and infield positioning. So
Hmm.
first game, opening day of the season, have Kershaw on the mound, like no pressure, just making sure like all the guys are placed in the right spots. So it was, it was good, man. It was for me, it was a great learning experience. I mean, compared from the first month of the season to the last couple months, I feel like we made as a staff, as a group, we made some great strides, and it was definitely exciting.
I didn't know about this proposal before, so that's quite the story. I'm glad you shared that, and I'm glad she said yes.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
That's always, I guess, the making sure she says yes and not no in front of everyone. That's probably the most nerve-wracking part.
So this coming season, going to be part of the coaching staff in Tulsa, just up the turnpike, and for fans, just want to make it clear that career progressions for coaches is not linear like it is for a player. You can get moved
Right.
around different affiliates for various reasons, whether it's different roles, whether it's to work with certain guys. So just because J Rod's going to Double A this year does not have any negative connotations. Just to make that clear. But what are some of the things you're looking forward to in your role coming up with Tulsa?
I think the first thing is, working with the new staff. I always, enjoy working with new people because, I mean, everyone's different. Everyone has different personalities. And I think for me and my growth, that's always huge. They already told me when I took the Tulsa job is I'll be doing the exact same thing as I was in OKC. So for me, that I know that's going to help me a lot.
Yeah.
Scott Hennessy's really, kind of giving me the rails and like, "Hey man, like I trust you, whatever you want to do. If you want to do the exact same thing that you did in OKC, we can go, do that and then adjust from there." Um, so that's going to make me feel a lot more comfortable because instead of last year going into the season, not having it like a routine, not really knowing what to expect. Now going into Tulsa, I'll have that expectation. I'll have that routine with a lot less teams as well. So that's also like, all
Yeah.
right, like, and I don't have to worry about the plane rides as much either. But in which I didn't mind. I mean, I got my work done on, when we got to the lobby at 9 in the morning when we had to wait for our hotel rooms and stuff. But it was still, man, it's going to be a great experience. And I'll actually be coaching first this year, which will be the first time I've ever coached first in a regular season. I've always coached third. And so for me, I'm really excited about that because I know I'm going to learn a lot, and it's just it can only help me grow as in my coaching career.
Well, you mentioned the manager of that team, Scott Hennessee, a guy I don't personally know him, but have heard nothing but great things about him. Of course, there was that video that went kind of viral last year when he told Gavin Lux in the middle of the All-Star game he was coming up to OKC, and you could just see the relationship between those two.
Oh
And
yeah.
another story I have about him, even though again I don't personally know him, is that I know someone who's pretty well connected in the Tulsa baseball community. And one time he came up to me and said, I understand you guys are going to eventually take our players, but I really hope you never take our manager. And for a fan to say that, to have a connection and respect for a minor league manager like that, basically close to unheard of. So he
Yeah.
certainly really endeared himself to that Tulsa community. Tell us a little bit more about Scott Hennessy. What makes him an effective manager, coach, and leader?
Something I've harped on a lot is, I mean, he is so key on building relationships. I mean, he really has his players wanting to fight and win for him. I think it's the energy he brings right when he gets in the clubhouse. I mean, he's constantly talking with guys, over the phone. He can tell like, hey, they're not having a good day. I mean, he just has a great eye with that, and I think the players really feed off it. And I think that's what they really want. Like, they want to win for him. They want to play for him. He builds a great relationship with the community. I mean, shoot, we call him the mayor of Tulsa. And, he loves it there, man. And I think he really pours his heart and soul into that town, and he really enjoys it, man. And that's the one thing I'm really excited about because of the energy and the atmosphere that he brings every day to the ballpark and to the clubhouse. So I think that's what makes him, a different manager and a successful one as well.
You mentioned this year you're going to be coaching more first base than third base. Of course, you've coached third base last year in Oklahoma City and previously in your other coaching stops. What is it about that position and that role that you enjoy the most?
Oh, coaching third, man. Obviously I coached third right when I retired. It was first game and I jumped in there, and I felt like I never left. Like I never
Yeah.
retired, and I was so in the game. And now, I mean, that was my first year coaching, and now going to last year, there was so much more information, so much more things that I had to look out for. Talking to Dino Ebel, who's the third base coach for our big league club, and he really opened my eyes a lot, just like little things that I could really pick up to make myself a better third base coach. So for me, it's being into the game and really knowing, like, man, like ninth inning, tie ball game, runner on second. Your head is like, all right, man, like, you're looking at all the outfielders, who has the best arms, who has the best, athleticism, moving left and right. And like, you kind of have to, you got to play a little gamble against yourself and just like, all right, ball hits here. If it's a hard one, I'm sending him. If it's soft, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to make the adjustment, seeing who's on deck. If we have a pitcher hitting on deck, this is, again, my first time also with pitchers hitting in the lineup. So that was something I also had to, put in my game plan and kind of understand. And Travis and I we were on the same page a lot, understanding. You'd have me understand, like, hey, we're going to pinch hit in this situation. I might have our pitcher, go in the on-deck circle just to kind of deke the other team, but I'm going to make sure, we pinch hit for them. So, so that kind of gave me a little bit more preparation to, like, hey, if I'm going to send them or not. But I guess having that adrenaline rush, when you send a guy from second or a guy at third, and it's a sac fly, it's a close one, and they trust you and it works out. If it doesn't, then it's all right. But for me, I think the aggressiveness and having the game on the line, I think, is the one thing that I really truly love the most at third.
Coming now into your fifth full season as a coach in the Dodgers organization, what would you say maybe is the biggest difference in Jeremy Rodriguez as a coach now as opposed to that first year?
Ooh. Oh man, that's a good one. I believe so with the Padres, we didn't really go too much with the analytics and the information. And for me, it was all about, building a culture there, winning culture, and building relationships with my players. And I feel like that's never changed. But now going to my fifth year, now I'm definitely looking more into the analytics and obviously trusting my gut. I think my first couple of years, I didn't trust my gut. It was being like, like, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to make a mistake.
Right.
Compared to now, it's like, man, you know what? If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. I'm going to learn from it. And that's where, Travis and Billy and Scott really helped me a lot last year. If I did make a mistake, they'd grab me along and they were like, hey, look at these different situations that we could do. And it was like, oh man, all right. So, and it I actually enjoyed making mistakes, because then it was like, all right, I can learn from it and I can grow more. Where before I was more timid at making mistakes because I wanted to be so perfect at coaching. Just like, as I was as a player, I wanted, I'm a perfectionist. I wanted to be, the best at everything. So, but I know coaching is, for me to be a good coach, I know I have to fail and, just, help these guys understand that failure is okay.
And I think that something, at least in conversations I've had with people, is within the Dodgers player development system, of course, there's a huge emphasis on exactly that player development, but also in coaching development.
Oh yeah.
Just talking with guys like Clayton McCullough and what they do to help guys along young in their career, to really be able to advance and all that, and certainly just an appreciation of how focused they are in developing coaches and leaders as well as addition of players. But on that topic of player development, the Dodgers considered, if not the best, certainly near the top in terms of what they do in player development in baseball. Someone who's been part of that machine now for 5 years, what is it, in your view, that makes it so special?
I feel like everyone's on the same page. We don't have coaches that have their egos in front of them. I mean, they're bought into winning a World Series, winning the last game of the season, winning a championship, and that was something that was completely different for me in my eyes when I walked in day one. Hearing talking about winning a World Series right away, it was like, what? The Padres, it was more just trying to make the playoffs, but with the expectations was completely different. And but just how everyone was just on the same boat, on the same page. There wasn't someone else was doing something that someone didn't know, or the miscommunication or anything like that. And this organization's huge on family and trust, and I think that goes a long way, especially with our lifestyles and making sure that we feel loved and we feel cared for. And shoot, when my mom passed away in January, and when that happens, you had no idea the love and support I had throughout the whole organization. Even going all the way to the top. I mean, Dave Roberts, my sister, came to spring training, and she got to talk with Dave, and Dave spent a lot of time with my mother the spring training before, because Dave knew she was going through cancer, and he spent 45 minutes out of his day just to talk with her and my aunt and really make, their day amazing. And that was the one thing she remembered the most. I mean, obviously seeing me in a Dodger uniform, but spending time with him and hearing his story. And so, and then for him to talk to my sister and, apologize, when my mom's passing, some stuff like that, it goes so long, such a long way that, I mean, it's hard for me to think man, could I be within an organization or even think about leaving, just because all these people and how much they care, truly care about the person, instead of just, the end goal.
Wow. Well, it's a great answer and some great insight. So we mentioned at the beginning that you were very involved with the fans. I felt like from a front office standpoint, if we ever needed someone for a community appearance, whether it was youth related, something else, that you always were the first to raise your hand. Why is that so important to you?
When I was younger, my dad and I would always talk, and I've always been blessed to have a lot of role models in my life, and especially people that have, had big league experience. And the one thing I've always built a lot of memories through them. And for me, it was just motivation just to keep working, keep pushing, keep doing something that I really, truly loved. So my dad always said, like, hey, if God ever blesses you with the opportunity to be that role model for someone and have that opportunity to make someone's day and push someone, it's like, he's blessing you right now with people coming in your lives, to really push you. And I mean, that's something that, you cherish and you'll always remember. He's like, so if there is a little kid out there, if there's someone that you feel like you can make, their day better, or, help them, keep working or motivate them, like, don't pass up that opportunity. So for me, if they're, for me, the player appearances, even if they didn't need a coach, I'd still want to be there, just, because I know an experience like that can really make someone's day, no matter what they're going through or how they're feeling. And, for me, that's almost bigger than the game. Um, Experiences like that, I mean, it changes people's lives. And I feel like that in player development and the players' point of view, I mean, that's what this is all about.
Let's shift gears a little bit. You've mentioned your time playing in the Padres organization a few times now. Who was someone either you played with or you played against during your playing career that at the time you're like, yeah, he's going to be a dude, and now they're a successful big leaguer?
Oh man, um, quite a bit, I guess. Austin Hedges, I was his backup. We were in the same draft, and so getting drafted, like the whole process, and with the first rounders, like I didn't really, it was my first year, so I didn't know too much about it. So Hedges signed probably July, so I was starting most of the time. Hedges comes in, and then obviously he gets the priority, and I'm kind of like, man, what's going on? Like how come I'm not playing anymore? Like, and at that time, Pat Murphy was my manager. Pat was, he's
Oh,
the bench
wow.
coach for the Brewers, and he was an amazing manager. I still keep in touch to this day for advice. And he told me, he's like, hey man, like, you gotta, this is just kind of how it is. You just gotta bite your tongue and just keep working. So that was kind of my first, realization of like how professional baseball kind of is. But when I saw Hedges play, it was like, okay, this guy's a high school 18-year-old. Like, okay, he's gonna be the real deal. Um, Carlos Correa, he was another one. George Springer, another one like that just kind of really stood out. That I was like, holy moly. Julio Urias, he was another good one. I mean, when he found out I came with the Dodgers, he was so happy because he thought I was still playing. And he came up to me and was like, dude, I hated throwing to you. I think I'm like 1 for 3 with 2 walks off him and a punch. But he hated it because his breaking ball, it was a high and sharp breaking ball. Right when I saw it go up, I would duck even lower. So it would go like, it would be a strike, but I'd make it seem like a ball, and he gets so mad. But it was, it was always fun competing against him because I knew he was one of the best. But he was another one that I could see. I was like, man, this guy's going to be in the big leagues really, really soon. So I think those are the guys that really stood out to me. And I'm probably forgetting a bunch more, but those were a good group of guys.
Well, you mentioned how you were tough at bat against Julio Urias, and now I'm going to ask you a little trivia question about your own playing career. You
Ooh.
finished with more walks than strikeouts, in your playing career, especially this day and age, which is you almost never see happen. How many more walks than strikeouts did you finish with in your career?
uh, I'll go with 10.
You're close. 13.
Oh, okay. I was like 10 or 15. That's what I was hoping for. Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. So Pat, I walked a lot, especially in the lower levels, because the control wasn't there.
Right.
So Pat Murphy, I mean, it was so funny. Like, he would always like, Jared, you're making me look into a genius, man. So if the game was tied or we were down one or anything like that in the ninth inning, I wasn't playing, he would put me in and he would tell me, he's like, hey, like, don't swing till 2 strikes. Like, just get into your 2-strike approach. And because I would get wide and I would like kind of get lower. And every time they would walk me, every time. So I get to first and I do the Rick Dorn? I get to first and like the pinch runner was already coming. He would beat me to first base and we would either tie or take the lead. And it was awesome. I mean, the players loved it. Pat was like, I had really good plate discipline, and sometimes it hurt me because I'd get a little too passive.
Right.
But for me, I was just trying to get something going, and that was probably one of my funniest stories, I guess, that I had from like professional baseball. Just going in, just being ready to walk, and then I'd get on first, and then we'd score, we tie it up, and we win the ball game.
Well, that's great. And Pat Murphy had a chance to once meet him once, talk to him once when he was managing in AAA in the Padres system.
El Paso,
yeah, I've heard always nothing but great things, and of course a great career at the college level before he joined the pro ranks. In addition to that, certainly never a shortage of words from Pat Murphy. Colorful at that. Going back now to a little bit of our current situation and picking your brain from a coaching standpoint, if they're kids, youth players, high school players who were unable to have a season this year, what kind of things would you tell them what kind of simple things would you say that they can be working on right now? Maybe if they don't necessarily have, a ton of equipment or means to have a baseball facility, what are some simple and easy things you would suggest people are able to spend this time working on in terms of playing baseball or softball?
So this is what I've been talking to a lot of the high school kids I've been training, or even my middle school group. This is an opportunity that obviously it's rare, but I think it's an opportunity where you can really take advantage, where a lot of people can just be like, you know what, I'm just going to be, taking it easy, playing video games. And that's where you take advantage of kids like that. And so for me, it's, we have videos of a lot of our guys in the Dominican where they can only leave their house every, 3 days. And they'll have those the 5-gallon water jugs. And you don't need something like that, but, maybe you can get the 1-gallon ones, for the younger group. And they're doing, rows, they're doing lunges with them, they're doing squats. They're being creative because they can't go to a gym or a weight room. There's a lot of stuff that I'm doing like on Zoom with some high school kids that they're just doing like, circuit training, just body weight. But if you increase the reps and you try to beat a time, that workout's gonna kick your butt. You can always do jump ropes. You can always do something to stay active. For me, baseball is all about muscle memory. So technically, you don't have to be swinging a bat. You don't have to be hitting off a machine or anything like that to get that muscle memory going. A lot of my kids that don't have the facility or the equipment, they do a lot of mirror work just so they can see their swing and just constantly repeat it, which is just going to help them. So when they do hit off the tee, that it's going to be like, oh man, like I feel like I've just been swinging this whole time. Obviously the endurance probably won't, be there or the stamina, but that's just going to take some time. But I think for me, it's like, if you want something bad enough, if you have a goal, you're going to find a way and be creative to reach that goal and achieve it. So use this time and use this opportunity to get ahead and, over the rest. And, I think it's very easy to make excuses during this time. So if we can take that out of the picture, I mean, I think for you, you're going to be really happy when all this is over, where you end up.
I think that's some great advice for everybody, non-athletes as well. Um, in terms of some more lighthearted stuff during this time, what's the best thing you've watched on, a streaming service or TV? Thing you've enjoyed the most during the quarantine?
Oh man. So Money Heist. Money Heist has been a real good one. My whole family was already on like season 3, and I haven't even started, so I started hearing all these things. So my fiance and I were like, "All right, we're jumping in." Oh God, Schitt's Creek.
Okay, heard good
That's
things about it. Haven't seen it. But yeah.
it's a good one. I don't know. Have you watched New Girl, Bill?
I did when it was
Oh
on air. Yeah.
yeah. So that it's very similar to that, but there's some really good actors in Schitt's Creek, and so it's kind of a dumb comedy, but it's funny. I mean, it kind of lightens the mood a little bit after you go from all the money heists and the serious shooting and all that stuff. But and then obviously the Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary. I mean, that one will really, if you're not motivated to work, if you're not motivated to do much right now, like you watch that and you'll be finding ways to do whatever it takes to get better that day. So I think for athletes or just for people that just don't feel motivated, that's a really good documentary that I feel a lot of people should be watching.
It's definitely on my list. I haven't started watching The Last Dance yet, but I will at some point. And I'm glad, because I've seen stuff on social media, that it seems like people are finally realizing how impressive it was for Michael Jordan to do what he did at Double A
Yeah.
baseball without playing for years and years. And I had heard stories before, and I think they're just retold how hard and devoted he was to get better
Yeah.
during that one season of baseball. So
And I didn't even know Tony Francona was one of
yeah,
his managers, and I was like, "What?" Like, I mean, for me, that's a great experience. But like, I mean, Tony, I don't know. I thought it was really cool for him. And he's one of he's one of the greatest managers in the game right now, and for him to have that experience, and I thought it was really cool.
any other new hobbies or activities you've picked up during this time?
Um, to be honest, we've been cooking. We pulled out my mom's old recipe book, and we just been making a lot of new meals as a family. And we'll have designated like card game night, and then we'll do a movie night with the family. And I think this is just, again, it's time that I feel like I lost when we were younger, when I left for college. And it's been really special, just kind of having dinners and doing all this stuff with family. But that's pretty much it. I mean, and to be honest, with our lifestyle, like the cooking part, it's hard enough. So for me to learn new recipes and be creative and try new seasonings, I think for me that's a big step forward.
What's been the proudest you've been of a dish you've made so far?
Oh, my mom's chicken enchiladas.
Okay.
Definitely being creative on the amount of sauce, the amount of cheese that you put in, and then we started seasoning the chicken, so it gave even more flavor. My sister taught me how to make ceviche, which is a big Peruvian dish, and that one I never thought I could really even come close to making, but she's helped, and because I love ceviche, so that could be a big troublemaker for me during the season because I can just snack on that all day. So those two have been probably my big award winners so far. But there's some other stuff that we've been trying to think about and be creative and kind of start. So it's been good.
Well, on the topic of food, we're going to talk a little bit about our presenting partner, Braum's, and some of their new ice cream flavors they have coming out here. And so they are available right now. There's 6 new seasonal flavors. So what we're going to do is J-Rod and I, we're going to have a draft between these 6 new flavors. So since you're the guest and we're going to do a snake draft, I'll give you the choice. Do you want picks 1, 4, and 5, or 2, 3, and 6?
Oh shoot. Okay, so which one does it go from left? Like one.
Oh no, I'm saying you just get your choice of the first pick because we're gonna alternate picks and
Okay, okay,
snake it.
okay.
So I'm saying you get the choice of the first pick, uh, fourth and fifth, or second, third, and sixth.
Oh, jeez. Let's go. Let's go first pick,
Okay,
and,
so they can
and then
take.
yeah.
All right, go ahead. What's the number one overall pick?
Um, I can't see it. What's the top
Oh,
right one?
it is salted caramel truffle.
Oh, um, shoot, man. All right, so I'm gonna go. I'm a big churro guy, so I'm gonna go with churro.
Okay. So number two, I'm going to take the salted caramel truffle, and for number three, I'm gonna just dominate the caramel game. I'm going to take caramel cone.
Okay.
So now you got 4 and 5.
I'm gonna go. Kind of a colorful guy, so I'm gonna go the confetti cookie,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna go the red velvet brownie.
All right. So lemon blueberry cake. So my picks: the salted caramel truffle, the caramel cone, and the lemon blueberry cake, which I think is a steal to get at 6, by the way. And
Yeah.
then J Rod's got churro red velvet brownie and confetti cookies. So if you want to weigh in on who quote unquote won, you can do so in the comments. I think we're all winners here whenever we have a chance to enjoy some ice cream from Braum's. So normally the way we end this is with fan questions, but because this interview and the scheduling with Jeremy didn't come together till shortly before we were able to record, we didn't have a chance to do that. So we're going to end it a little bit by flipping the script. So J Rod, if you have questions you want to ask me, please go ahead. If not, that's okay too.
So, for 2020, I mean, before all this was happening, what was new with OKC baseball and the organization? And, I know every organization is different, and they always have new and upcoming things
Yep.
coming in for 2020. So this year, what were going to be some new things?
Well, they replaced all the seats in the ballpark, all the fixed seats in the ballpark. So every
No
single one
way.
of them. They're the same kind of model, but they're all definitely a deeper shade of green after being the same ones used for 22 years, getting kind of worn out by the sun, and of course inevitable that some are going to have cracks and all that stuff. So all the seats were replaced, and then also in the seating bowl they put down kind of a new sealant or protective coat, I guess better, more non-slip resistant, just, when it rains and stuff like that, won't be as affected. So that was a big thing. Of course, we were going to have some different theme nights. One of the biggest kind of initiatives and themes was partnering up with the Oklahoma City Memorial on the 25th anniversary of the bombing there, and we had a kind of a kickoff press conference in February, and April 18th and 19th, which would coincide with the exact 25th anniversary. We're going to have First Responders Weekend. The team's going to wear a patch this year, memorial patch this year, and then we're going to have the number 168 retired out in the left field wall to signify the number of lives that were lost that day. Still, whenever we get the new schedule, we will certainly have that. And then also we just had, I believe last week, what was going to be the first time we'd ever hosted a Bark at the Park at Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark. So hopefully we'll be able to get that on the books again. New other food stuff. The chef and his team have whipped up new kind of specials, kind of reconfiguring of some of the various concession stands and all that. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some stuff as well. But I know right now they're very hard at work on fixing the leak in the manager's office in the clubhouse, which has been going on for a very long time. So I think they finally have kind of solved maybe how to remedy it.
That is so awesome. I know Travis would be happy about
Yeah,
that.
I'm not going to tell. I want to make sure it's completely done. He might see this. I don't know, but yeah, I've been waiting to tell him about it.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. That is awesome. I know Hass will probably be like, "Oh
Oh,
man, like it's a special year." Sweet. Are there a lot of people still going to the stadium and working, or is it more from home right now?
so we've been fortunate in that every no one's been furloughed, no one's been laid off among our full time
Oh
staff.
wow.
There's some people who just from a facility standpoint, necessary standpoint, will be at the ballpark, but the majority of people have been working from home.
Oh wow. Okay. Still a good deal. And then what have been some of your hobbies or any new things that you picked up during this time?
Yeah, I'm just a boring person in general, but something I was able to do for quite some time was took in a foster dog. So
Oh, no
had a
way.
foster dog named Murphy for a while, but he's since been adopted. And it's kind of good, at least the agency I've been working with, kind of a good problem to have that more people have been active, both from a foster and adoption standpoint. I'm kind of waiting for the next chance I have to foster a different dog. They just don't have any available right now, which is a good, like I said, a good problem to have. So, granted, nothing changes drastically with my schedule in the immediate future. Planning on taking in another foster dog.
Oh man, that is awesome. Now, did you go through an organization there in OKC, or because I know Alana Rizzo has a big organization as well that she's kind of putting together and with foster care and dogs and animals.
Yeah, no, this is Oklahoma and Oklahoma City-based foundation, the Oklahoma Humane Society.
Oh man, that is awesome. That's awesome that you did that, man.
All
Good
right.
deal.
Well, J Rod, this has been awesome. You've provided such great content and answers, and we hope everyone who's watched has enjoyed it as well. Again, appreciate your candor, your honesty, forthcomingness, and all that stuff. Wishing you and your family nothing but the best during this time, and best of luck as we all wait for the word on baseball season.
That's right, Alex. Thanks for having me, man. It's always great and a pleasure seeing you.